Brought to you by Penguin.
The Secret Agent by Joseph Conrad. Read by Luke Norris. Introduction. New listeners are advised that this introduction makes details of the plot explicit. Part 1. On the afternoon of the 15th of February 1894, a 26-year-old Frenchman named Martial Bourdin left Fitzroy Street in central London and travelled southeast towards Greenwich Park at the city's margins. A tram driver noticed that something seemed to be in the young man's left-hand pocket. Later, a park keeper saw Bourdin walking among the trees, holding a small brown paper parcel. He was heading towards the path that led to the Greenwich Observatory. Somewhere out of sight, he unwrapped the package and discarded the paper. Inside was a bomb. As he walked on, it suddenly exploded. Bourdin's injuries were fatal. He was conscious for a while, although in terrible pain. He died before reaching hospital. 3 days earlier, in Paris, an anarchist, Émile Henry, went to the Café Terminus near Saint-Lazare station, drank a beer for which he was careful to pay in advance, stood up, lit a fuse with his cigar, and strolled out, throwing the bomb behind him into the crowded café. 20 were injured by the blast. 1 person later died. Was Bourdin involved with this and other similar Parisian outrages? Was he taking his bomb from London to France? Had he in fact intended to blow up the Greenwich Observatory? Was he planning an attack on the Meridian Line, only recently established in 1884 as the prime meridian, 0 degrees longitude, the central point of the Earth? If so, was such an attack intended as an assault on the organisation of time itself? Was the young man perhaps a simpleton, misled by others, even duped by police spies? Bourdin's death left all questions unanswered. The only certainties were the fact of the explosion and his excruciating suffering. This mysterious event was the only anarchist bomb outrage in Britain at the time. The 1890s and early 1900s were the period of propaganda by the deed, the belief that criminal exploits such as bombings or assassinations best served the cause of revolution. Such deeds were understood to be ultimately futile even by those who carried them out, yet at least they were deeds, acts that exposed the modern state's vulnerability. Anarchist violence terrorized America and mainland Europe during the period, leading to a series of bomb outrages in France and Spain, and to the assassination of an Austrian empress, an Italian king, a French president, a Spanish prime minister, and William McKinley, President of the United States, to list the most successful attentats, as these murders were termed. The British experience of the violence was tragically farcical. Bourdin's misadventure in Greenwich Park would now be forgotten had not some element in its blood-stained inanity struck the literary imagination of Joseph Conrad. Conrad started writing The Secret Agent in February 1906 in Montpellier, finishing it in the autumn of that year when it was published in serial form in America in Ridgway's A Militant Weekly for God and Country. He then expanded and altered the tale, revising it during the spring and summer of 1907 before its publication in book form on the 12th of September 1907. While he was writing the serial version, there was another explosion in Madrid. An anarchist hurled a bomb concealed in a bouquet of flowers at the King and Queen of Spain. The monarch and his consort escaped uninjured, but 12 bystanders were killed. As it had in 1894, anarchist terrorism was once again dominating the newspaper headlines. A month before the explosion in Greenwich, Conrad had returned to London from a France troubled by anarchist activity. Going to Rouen railway station to pick up a package, he himself had been mistaken for an anarchist. A bomb had been thrown in the Chamber of Deputies a few weeks before, and on the day the Ardouer left port to return to London, its perpetrator, Auguste Vaillant, was condemned to death. At the age of 36, Conrad was in the midst of making a decisive step, signing off from his career as a seaman and choosing to devote himself to literature. Some 10 years after leaving the sea, he took up the subject of anarchism, first in 2 short stories, An Anarchist and The Informer, written in December 1905.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?